Hello. Wow, that was weird. Didn't know what I was doing.
We're not. This is not Vietnam.
It's MASH. That's from last time.
Good morning, MASH.
After we kept talking about MASH, I'm just
what you're
doing
thinking
good
about
war.
Vietnam.
That's not even the right
That's
war.
from Vietnam.
Yeah,
that's from the movie
one.
Good Morning
That's
Vietnam.
the sequel. That's the Korea sequel, Vietnam.
Oh my
Korea
God.
was the shitty sequel to Vietnam. Wow, welcome back to the Triforce podcast.
Thanks so much. What a pleasure to be here.
Filled with nuggets of history,
Yeah.
topical meme news,
Nuggets of history and
chat.
3 nuggets as well. Just nuggets all around.
Just chilling.
Just chilling.
Just-
Yeah.
You know what? I've been fiending.
propaganda. What's going on?
In prison news,
Oh, yeah.
I found a channel.
Right.
A channel. This guy called Wes Watson. He has a channel called Penitentiary Life. Wes
Oh,
Watson,
right.
okay? And he is an ex-con. He did 10 years in some very hard prisons. He is the largest man that I've ever seen. He is so huge, like just beyond ripped. I mean, he's clearly pumping himself full of something. He looks like the Incredible Hulk. Like, he's that fucking big.
Wow.
And his
Okay.
videos are a combination of him talking about his time in prison and encouraging people not to go there and saying how shitty it is and all the terrible things that'll happen there. And I've got some tales about that. But with he's obviously got this fitness guru, self-improvement, spiritual thing going on.
Right.
Because he is barely containing his rage at all times. And he's trying to channel this into something positive. And I think he's barely keeping a lid on absolutely fucking losing it at any second. And if you watch his videos,
Okay.
they're all the same. He's always sitting side on to the camera, sort of turning his head towards it. And he'll do videos like, he'll just say, prison gangs. These are no joke. And when you're on the yard, you might get busted up by some bad motherfuckers like that. And he sort of like shouts, but then he'll kind of be calm. So like he'll be reading an inspirational quote, like, so let's say here's one here on the, I looked up some inspirational quotes. He reads a lot of these, all right, that are obviously his version of inspirational quotes. So he'll say things like, but he'll randomly shout on certain words. And when he shouts, there's like spit coming out of his mouth and he's like pointing and all his muscles are like tensing up like he's going to break your neck.
Man.
He's terrifying. If there were no night, we would not appreciate the day, nor could we see the stars and the vastness of the heavens. We must partake of the bitter with the sweet. There is a divine purpose in the adversities we encounter every day. They prepare, they purge, they purify, and thus they bless. Like he's literally like that. So I don't know if it's inspiring or
This is
terrifying.
he's like a wrestling character.
He is very
IRL.
much like Randy. What was his name?
Macho Man
The cream rise to the top. What is that guy's name? Randy.
Randy Savage.
Yeah, Randy Savage.
Macho Man Randy Savage, right?
Yeah.
The Macho Man Randy. And I know that when you come down to Phoenix next week, Macho Man
Step
Randy
into a
Savage
Slim
gonna
Jim,
find me back
etc.
there.
Yeah.
With some moves for him, because the cream will always rise to the top. So he's kind of like that.
What did this guy go to jail for then? Why was he in jail for 10 years? Is a
So,
long time to be in jail.
He assaulted someone with a deadly weapon.
Right.
Okay. But his whole point is that the prisons are run by these old lifers who
Right.
have been in gangs forever. They
Yeah.
are there in prison forever. Like they are literally got like 120 year sentences or whatever. They're never getting out. And when you come onto the yard, that was when he really got angry, talking about new people. Fresh fish, booty boys, little bitches coming in here, you know, so like,
Walking into my house.
Exactly. You're like coming into his yard, fake hard, fake tough guys. He talks about how like his skin is really sunburnt all the time because he spent so much time sitting outside in the prison yard working out. So he is huge. His skin is all burnt to fuck. He's covered in tattoos and he's just legitimately terrifying. But the rules in these American prisons are, it's so divisive. Like if you're sort of segmented by race primarily. The white guy's over here, the Hispanic guy's over there, the black guy's over there, and everyone else is just kind of left to it. Like you do not mix. If they're playing basketball in one yard, like the black people are playing in one yard, the white people do not. Even if their ball goes over there, they wait until they bring it over to them. There's no trespassing.
What happens if you're Blasian? Though?
Well, this is the problem. He said, what happens if you're like,
what happens if Tiger Woods goes in there? Like he's
they just have to decide. Like they will, one side will say he's with us. and they're like, okay, he's yours, whatever.
Right.
Like he will have to make a decision. The white guys probably won't have him because a lot of these guys are like Aryan Brotherhood or they're white supremacists and everything.
Right.
So, if he's not white, he can't be with us. He must be with you guys. And the black guys aren't going to say, well, he can't be with us because then, the guy's got nowhere to go. I mean, sure, there are some other gangs out there that might take him.
I guess they want to recruit.
It would be a big confusion.
They want to recruit new people, right? They need people at the bottom of the ladder to do all like the shit jobs too, right? So
but those shit jobs are things like, you're going to have to take these drugs
Apply
to
the
this
sun
other guy.
lotion to my back.
Hold the cell phone in your asshole for a while.
But also, it's things like, how long are you in for?
I love how different our viewpoints of what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
menial tasks
Like,
are.
they'll say, how long are you in for? 2 years. Like, oh, so you've got some time. No problem.
Hey,
'Cause what they're
Aryan
thinking is,
Nation! I'm so happy to be here. What's my first
he's
job?
like, I'm in for 10. You're only in for 2. So I'm going to give you some jobs to do that'll probably add time to your sentence. But I don't give a fuck because I'm here for 10. You're only here for 2. So fuck you. I'm gonna give you 5-6 years added to your sentence. Go and kill that guy or go beat that guy up or whatever because they don't give a fuck. Like, they're never thinking, oh, we got to help this lad out. They do not care. You are just a tool for the gangs. So they'll be like, that guy over there, he's no good. The 4 of you who only have 2 years on your sentence, go fuck that guy up. And if you don't do it, they'll fuck you up. Like, that's it. There's no love at all. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. So he says he knows lots of guys who've gone in there with just 2 years and they've ended up in there for 15, 20 years because of all the shit they've had to do just to survive in prison. Because if you don't, they'll fucking kill you. So you go in, like he said, you go in for some bar fight. You think, oh, it's only 2 years. This will be all right. Before you know it, you're doing 15. Because
you're
murk
getting
this
up to all
lad,
sorts,
beat this other lad up, and then
jug a couple of people.
A couple of juggings, and they'll throw you under the fucking bus. It's so horrible.
They have buses in prison.
They do, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, how do you think that they get them to, like, when they...
Oh, the prison bus.
Yeah. Like, if they take them to the beach for the day or something like that, they got to take them somehow. Like,
I see.
You can't take a limousine or whatever. There's too many prisoners, so they got to chuck them all in a safe bus. Chuck a couple of them underneath it as well, and then off for a day at the beach.
Why doesn't he just? It looks like this guy's incapable of wearing a shirt.
I know,
like,
he is so fucking big, dude. But on some of his earlier
do they just
stuff,
not make them in his size?
No. In
Is that
some of the
problem?
earlier stuff, it's America, dude. Of course, they make shirts that would fit on the Empire State Building.
But in prison, though.
Well, no.
Why is he not wearing a shirt in the yard?
He's not. I don't think any of these videos
Why
are
is he
him in
getting
prison.
sunburn? I'm worried about him. Where's his mum?
None of these have taken in prison. You can't film in prison, right?
I like how he does the quotes and stuff, or like like he's almost like philosophical about it. But I feel like if you're gonna make videos, you need like an angle, and I feel like a nice thing that he could do maybe is like do some like poetry, but it'd be funny if like it was kind of like self-deprecating poetry as well. So he'd
I don't
be like,
think he would ever do that, dude.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, maybe if he wanted to change it up or he's thinking of new ways of doing things or whatever, he could come on and be like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I broke the law and spent 10 years in prison.
And now I gotta go to prison.
Yeah, something like that.
He's a genuinely terrifying guy.
Yeah.
Some of the things he says, like the tattoos, he has a WW on his chest
Right.
for Wes Watson.
Right.
And then on your stomach, you have the county that you're from. So everybody's kind of postcoded essentially to say, these are my initials to remind you of my name, and then this is where I'm from. And they separate the gangs out based on North California or South California. You like, they have all these yards, and like some of the yards are tougher than the other yards. It just sounds like so fucking hard. But the thing is, his stuff now, he's a lot angrier and more vocal and more emotional than he was in the earlier videos. If you look at his stuff like 2-3 years ago, you can tell he's recently got out of prison. One of the things he talks about is that you don't give away anything about your mental state when you're in prison.
Right.
Like, you keep your face completely passive. You don't raise your voice. You don't say anything really. You just chill. Because if you make a big animated move, he said there are so many people in prison that are out of their fucking minds on drugs that they'll see you making noise and they'll think, he's plotting to kill me. And they'll fucking try to kill you.
Jesus.
Like, you've got all these people who've driven themselves insane with drugs.
So it's like the world's longest poker game, depending on how long you're in prison for.
It's so tough.
Is it like is it like a totalitarian state or like a mafia family or something where it's like you can't... Like, these little societies have obviously evolved to be like this due to the way they're set up, right? It's almost like if you put a load of, I don't know, kids in a room and lock them in there with a certain rule set.
There's always a pecking order, isn't there?
people always do this though, like selfishly, or is there like some prison yards where it's run by like the oldest inmate and he like tries to look after everyone? Is it ever good or is it always awful?
There's always some alpha on top in control, and then everybody else is either fighting for that spot or doing as they're told because they don't want to
But who is in prison? These are not well-adjusted people a lot of the time.
No.
They're not going to be like, guys, let's all just settle down and they're going to have a fucking meeting about it. No. These rules have existed for a long time, and when you join, it's continually handing the set of rules down to the next generation.
Yeah, it's like a code.
So let's say
right?
I've been in prison for 10 years. Some new meat comes into the prison, right? He comes in and he's been told the rules, and now he's there for 10 years. And when some other new guy comes in, the same rules are handed down. And for whatever reason, this is what works for them. I mean, it doesn't work.
Usually violence comes because somebody hasn't followed the rules, or
exactly.
Like somebody's allegedly grassed or whatever. Somebody's had something said about them, or you know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, like where you like a place that you work at, there's a pecking order, but it's not like the consequence isn't you just getting your head kicked in when you screw up or whatever. I don't think it's just
literally blind violence all the time.
No.
I think a lot of the time these are the rules, and even if you didn't know them, you broke them, and so much of it is about, because the thing is, I don't think any of them want to be in a prison, right?
No.
Genuinely. So the whole point of the rules is to preserve the unstable peace. So the rules are very simply in place of dividing the races so that there's no chance of people having any kind of arguments, and that you know where everybody stands.
Yeah.
This is this area, that's that area. And if you think about it, if you have a large group of people who are bound by one common factor, which is that they are all the same race, then at the very least there's going to be some kind of cohesion there. And it gives you the mentality of one group versus another. So creating that us versus them and then having a fine balance means that there might be less infighting in that group, although it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you just had everybody mixed together and let it settle down in little smaller groups and all the rest of it, someone who doesn't belong now, they're a big problem. Some guy who's essentially not in any gang or group is going to go nuts. He's got no one to calm him down. He's got no one to talk to. That's how you get violence. And also, the rules exist to stop huge fights.
Yeah, but prison itself isn't an isolated place. It's just an extension of everything that's happening outside, right? So like,
I think it's so different though.
You'll have gangs that will continue to beef with each other from the outside.
Oh god,
inside prison. But not only that, you'll also have situations where, like, coming back to what we see as like mindless violence or whatever, but if somebody was trying to hurt somebody on the outside and then all of a sudden they're trapped in a box, like in prison, it's much easier for them to then hurt them in there, right?
Yeah.
Like they can organize that much easier, and
you're fucked. I think if you're in a known
there's
gang,
less consequence because whoever's in there who's going to do it is just going to take the hit, get more years or whatever. But
you've
it's
got
not
100 years. What the fuck? I mean, you're never leaving anyway.
But it's a harder prospect to convince somebody who's not in prison to do it outside of prison and then risk going to prison, right?
That's what they always say in the.
But but like
they can get to them even easier.
Yeah, so like if somebody is like a big target and then ends up going to jail, they're pretty much fucked, right? Like it's so much easier for them to take them down inside, sort of thing.
I mean, apart from the one thing is that they would have their own homies inside, like their own guys in their gang. In a way, like you've got that. But I mean, they know where you are because you have a specific cell. They know which yard you're on, so you're just basically biding your time. But he says things like, there's a sort of flow of traffic on the yard. You do not ever go against a flow of traffic because the guys in the turrets with the guns will think, oh, he's turning around to stab somebody, lock the whole place down, send everybody back to their cells, pointing guns at everybody. But and this is how you get trouble started.
You don't want to draw any attention to yourself either.
None.
If you're doing anything different to what everybody else is doing, it's like a red flag immediately, like to guards and to prisoners as well, right? Because they could assume that you've lost your mind somehow, or that you're in the process of losing your mind, or anything, right? Like so you really have to like Yeah, it must be really tough, actually.
It's
but
just
like,
fucking taxing.
your life has to be fucking tough as hell leading up to you going to prison as well, though. I would have thought, like especially
you'd
people
think
who are in
so.
gangs and stuff. It can't
That
be.
side of it definitely. But
Yeah.
he talks about people who he's like, if you just end up in some bar fight, some drunk guy is giving you a load of shit, and you crack him one, and he falls over, and you're suddenly in prison, and he's in a state prison, right? Like. He's in there for you get 2 years for whatever, I don't know what the equivalent would be, common assault or battery or whatever.
Sure.
You punched some guy, he hadn't hit you first, just because he was drunk and annoying, that's not an excuse. You're gonna do time. And those are the people he says that get fucked the worst. Because you're only in for 2 years, nobody respects you, you're not in a gang, you're not hard.
But you
they're
risk
just gonna use you.
becoming institutionalized in there as well, though. You become part of the systems that sort of make up the fabric of the society in prison, and then by extension outside too, right? Like you become acquainted with people that you have no business being acquainted with. You never probably would have become acquainted with outside of that situation, but then all of a sudden your life kind of already has become not quite your own because you've gone to jail for whatever reason. But it's easy to get lumped in and caught up with other people who will further extend that control of your life, right?
Oh, it's just unbelievable.
Indoctrinating you into gang or something like that.
It's like
where you're just like, you don't have much.
It's like a completely weird problem, this, right? Because you can't make a brand new prison with brand new inmates because anyone already.
You can't. But there are definitely levels of prisons, right? Like if you're doing like a big financial fraud or whatever, and you've got a lot of money, there's better prisons you could go to, right? Where a lot of that stuff might not
Ivy
exist.
League prisons.
Yeah, kind of. I think. I mean, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but like, there's definitely sort of like like Club Med type prisons, right? For like,
well, again, this is America, right? We're talking about here. It's very different in the rest of the world, but similar in many ways. But partly because I wonder how much, again, Hollywood influences our perception or the general public's perception of what prison is, and how much that reinforces the behaviors and the things you see there.
Yeah.
Like I wonder how many people think they have to, protect themselves from this stuff that doesn't exist, or partly how much the authorities want to keep that idea in the popular consciousness that prison is this terrifying place to try and act as a scared straight thing, right? Like it certainly feels like there's a lot of problems in Hollywood with things like male prison rape being used as a joke, right, for a long time,
yeah,
especially
weird,
even
in the 90s,
movies.
especially like Saturday Night Live specifically.
And it's about and everyone taking that as they deserve it because they're in prison, right? And that's not what you went to prison for. It's a little bit like J.K. Rowling's Azkaban being this torture chamber, right? It's like there's one thing to have it be a prison and another thing to have it be a torture chamber, right? Like which of those things are you making? And it's the responsibility of us as the people who put these people in prison to, ensure that they are not just places that are hellholes, right? And unless that's what they're sentenced to. No one is saying, no judge is saying, I sentence you to 4 years of being raped and having to shank the guy in the next cell. Do you know what I mean? No one's actually doing that, but they kind of are. And there is this kind of disgusting idea that it's worse than dying, right? I'd rather see him suffer in prison for the rest of his life than die, than be killed, right? Which is astonishing, right? But that's the situation though, that people, that's the mindset that we're encouraging if we're not careful.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking with some of my Discord lads last night. We were watching these vids and talking about the cycle that this must create, because this guy's come out and he's an example of a guy who is at least attempting to turn his life around, turn away from crime and the influences that brought him to it.
Yeah.
But for most people, if you go into a yard and a prison like the ones that he's been in, are you telling me that you're going to come out and you're going to leave all that behind you? You're going to be a good boy from now on and everything's cool?
Well, but the circumstances that put them in there in the first place are largely out of their control. They're societal
but that's
issues.
The point is
and people
don't
commit crime because for fun, mostly. Most of the people in prison commit crime just because they have to,
Right.
you know,
but again,
provide for
most
themselves.
people that go to prison are not being given life sentences.
No.
Most are going there for much smaller sentences.
Yeah.
And then his point is that when you're in there, you will be getting more time because to survive in these tougher prisons, you have to do this awful shit.
Yeah.
So suddenly what was going to be 2 years and maybe you get back on your feet turns into 10 or 15 and now you're fucked. And you've lost everything on the outside. So prison being a horrendous place, like for serious criminals, is no deterrent. For regular people, they don't think that prison is a thing that's going to happen to them. I really believe that they just think, oh, people won't understand, it's no big deal. But the law is not compassionate in that way. It's very specific, and you can be stuck with a huge sentence for what seems like a minor crime based on all kinds of weird shit. And even if you're innocent, you could end up in prison because juries just are crazy sometimes. Like, that's just how it goes. So, you know, you might have a terrible defender, or the prosecutor might be shit hot. They might have decided to crack down on whatever you've been found guilty of this month. You might just genuinely be really unlucky. But most people that go in are not doing 10, 15-year stretches. They're doing 1, 2, 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Because they hand out sentences all the time, especially in America. There's loads of jail. For fucking loads of people in America have been to jail.
Yeah.
They've got the biggest population in the world of prisoners, like 2 million people or something crazy like that. So you are going to jail if you're an American. It's very likely you're going to go to jail at some point. And if you end up in one of these tough prisons, you might have more time added on for shit that you just had to fucking do to survive, and now you're fucked. So I think it is easy to say, yes, well, these guys chose a life of crime.
I've never heard of that happening, I will say. I mean, this guy obviously is saying
Are you gonna disagree with Wes Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis is...
Fuck you, Wes Watson.
You're
Come
a
at me.
brave man.
Oh
Lewis
my
Springwood.
God.
I mean...
Lewis knows more because...
You just created a beef on the yard.
He just has more experience in this area. That's why.
Well, that's my little tactic, right? People want to see what's going to happen with the beef, and they'll keep me alive until the beef is resolved.
Wes is going to kill you.
No, but it's all about drama, right? You got to create you got to be like an amphitheater. It's like Greek, you know. It's like live action. You know, TV is more interesting if it's personal, if you know people in it. Like there was an episode of Sherlock with Queen Square in the background. I was like, oh, and Tom was in it in the background.
Was
I was
he
like,
really?
oh, it was much more interesting.
I want to say as well that I think like the process of healing yourself or bettering yourself would maybe be a lot easier if you weren't just continually living in and reliving the past, right? By trying to give people advice based on your experiences constantly through videos and stuff like that. I don't know how you grow and get past it if you're just constantly talking about it and reliving it. You know what I mean? Like I know it's important to give people the examples and the knowledge and the education.
He's broken the cycle though. He's got a job that's paying him. You know, his YouTube career is apparently getting him like 10, 15K a month,
right,
you know, or more.
Yeah.
So he's broken the cycle. He's rich now.
But what's going to happen when he's just so sick of talking about it? And then he's like, oh, by the way, guys, 10 minutes of prison talk, and then the rest of the day we're doing Roblox, and then nobody watches, and then he goes, you know, like.
By the way, this video about prison is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah. I think it's like, I think it's whatever, you know, it's fine, but like in the long term, you can't, your life can't just be about that.
It's not my responsibility to worry about Wes Watson's future YouTube career.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just,
and I don't give a fuck. He'll be fine.
I'm making the
He'll
point.
transition into a spiritual leader and start selling
I'm just
dirt
making the point.
or some cunty thing that he's learned. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. You know, with these inevitable paths that people take.
No.
When they're
I think
this.
I think it's, you know, like if you share your experiences, especially bad experiences and stuff as well, that can be really helpful to people or whatever. But I think for you, for your personally, for your mental health and stuff like that, you do have to at some point move on. I'm not saying like right now, but
I agree with
you don't want to be that guy 30 years on who's still just banging on about the same fucking old shit. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't think it's good for you. Like, I think you have to progress.
Right, but let's imagine that he's not just sitting around talking about prison in a kind of sort of lurid way. He's talking about how to change people's lives. So it wouldn't work on me. Like whatever his tactic is, that kind of mental, you know, that exercising and, you know, your personal demons and all this kind of stuff. I'm not into that whole thing, but I've not lived his life. So, you know, maybe it talks to some people. It doesn't speak to me, whatever. But his stuff, there's always going to be a ready supply of customers.
Sure.
Who are broken people who have done time or look like they could do time. and his whole thing is fixing those people. If that gives him satisfaction, I don't think that's going to go away.
No.
Any more than being any other person that helps other people, even in an unusual way, which his way is unusual. I don't know what he does day to day.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has like, some fitness clinic or some kind of, mental well-being. But I mean, he certainly seems angrier now in these videos, whether he's doing it for the views, whether he's genuinely livid for whatever reason.
Content creation does sort of lend itself to people becoming sort of like characters of themselves, right? Like, right. Over time. So like, I think that's natural as well. You develop like a bit of a persona, and then you kind of roll with it if it works and stuff. And then that's it.
Do you think he would stream on Twitch? I want to see him play like truck driving simulator or something on Twitch.
Maybe they do like they could do that thing like they did with Snoop Dogg, where like he has a moment where he just like rages out on a game, but then they just like impose that onto like any gameplay.
This guy is going to be in actual wrestling, and then he'll be in movies. He'll be in Iron Man or whatever. Right. Iron Man 9.
He is Iron Man. I mean, look at him.
Exactly. Like
I'm
sure he's got a healthy future ahead of him if he stays off the drugs.
Yeah.
And doesn't follow the lessons he learned in prison.
No disrespect to the guy. I just wanted to make the point that like, I don't know, for him, I feel like if it was
might
me,
not be healthy.
I feel like if that was me, at a certain point, I would want to move past all that and stop sort of, being stuck in the past with it all.
I get it.
I think it's very hard. If you're in prison, you're reminded every day of the reason you're in prison, right? And until you're out, and then finally, once you're out, it's like, holy shit, I've done my time, but now I have to cope with this 10 years of fucking post-traumatic stress from
also,
dealing with that shit.
You've done nothing else for 10 years but be in prison.
And
what have you got to talk about?
Working through it and understanding and unpacking it is probably quite a healthy therapeutic way of dealing with it, actually.
Maybe.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fuck it. Let's move on, because we love prison. We're fascinated with prison, but that was some heavy shit.
That's a heavy prison chat.
I'm sorry.
We've had many prison chats in the past.
It had been a while since we'd had a good one.
Speaking of some people, though, who are being sent to prison, I found out that recently, I think last month, or even this month, actually, 5th of January, the Turkish police arrested 40 Twitch streamers.
Wow.
Who
Turkish
were
streamers.
money laundering.
Oh, wow.
Right. So basically, people would use stolen credit cards to buy. You could buy stolen credit cards on the dark web, right?
Yeah.
And they would use them to buy bits, and then these streamers would then give like half of those bits to the scammer.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so it was like a lot of money, and it was only like $8 per credit card, but they ended up doing like $10 million of scam. And it's been going for a couple of years, and obviously they found out about it because there were these very, very small streamers getting a lot of bits through, an unusual amount of bits through. And all Turkish streamers.
Wow.
Actually, and some of the biggest one of the biggest Turkish streamers sort of were approached and declined, and so they were kind of they approached lots of streamers. You see, they kept approaching them, and I think it was these big ones who actually ended up blowing the whistle on it, and being sort of providing some of the evidence for it happening. But yeah, that's a pretty interesting story. I wonder how many of them end up in Turkish prisons.
No thanks. Do you guys ever see that movie? Was it Midnight Run?
No.
Midnight Train?
That was
Midnight.
Is it something Express? Midnight Express?
Midnight Express, the one where the guy tries to bring heroin back.
It's Midnight Express.
Midnight
it's weed.
Express.
He's bringing weed back.
Is it weed?
Yeah.
I thought it was harder stuff.
No, I think it's just weed.
Just
there's
weed.
the door. Hold on.
All right.
Anyway,
Sure.
I thought it was
Perfect
the hard
timing.
stuff. But do you remember that movie? He gets imprisoned in Turkey. He's an American guy, and he ends up spending a lot of time in a Turkish prison, and it's not what he expects at all. I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie for you, like if you've not seen it.
It's really nice.
It's a classic, though. You should watch it. But yeah, it's a harrowing tale for sure. It's not. It's one of those ones
Not
that
for
you
the faint
watch
of
and you're
heart.
like, holy crap! I never want to spend a second in prison ever, and especially not in Turkey. Which it's spelled differently now, isn't it? Didn't they officially change the spelling in English of Turkey?
What?
Yeah, like recently. Yeah, look it up. Google it. It's like it's spelled differently now. It's not just.
It's Turkiye, I think.
Yeah. They've officially changed the way that it's spelt in English.
Really? This month? Yeah, Turkey.
Turkey.
In order to avoid confusion with the bird.
With the bird, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
And make it sound more exotic, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
But yeah, no.
I'm
Midnight
down.
Express is one for the list for sure. You got to if you haven't seen it, Lewis. I'm surprised
Do
you
you want
haven't
to watch
seen
a
it. Actually,
1978 prison movie?
Yeah. No, it's good
Yeah,
though.
Midnight
shit.
Express is a good film.
It is. It's a depressing
It's
as
Oliver
shit.
Stone, oddly enough.
Yeah.
It's based on a book. Apparently, I mean, it's Oliver Stone, so an awful lot of it is just made up and changed. And yeah, it's not true.
I mean, he wrote Scarface, right? And
Did he really?
other things.
Scarface was Oliver Stone, I believe. Yeah.
Was it really?
Platoon. That's what
Yeah,
Platoon.
and JFK and stuff like that.
I never
Yeah.
even saw JFK actually. Like I remember when it came out, and I remember it being very popular. Everybody's talking about it, but I think I was just a bit young at the time and never
Yeah.
was interested in it. And then
It's
never,
Kevin Costner and Kevin Bacon.
yeah, never sought it out after that. Never even
So,
tried to see it.
If you treat it like just a fictional political thriller,
Yeah,
JFK is really good. If you treat it as anything remotely factual, it's absolute bollocks.
right.
No,
And if
none
you
of this
want, you can
stuff
go
is,
and look
no.
up. I don't want to get into the JFK conspiracy stuff. My best mate is a huge JFK conspiracy fan, not in a crazy way,
Right. He just
but in
is
a
really
genuinely intrigued way. And there are some
genuinely
really
interested in the
good books
topic,
and
sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah, because it is fascinating,
Right.
And there are genuinely a lot of questions, and but there's so much misinformation. There are a lot of very crazy people. I went to Dallas and the spot where JFK had been shot, and there are a lot
Right.
of people selling their own books.
What, like for your own personal investigations, or you just happened to be
No,
there?
we were just in Texas.
I
and
was
we were like,
compiling some additional information for
I
my
do,
memoirs that I will be publishing soon.
got my tape measure out and everything.
I did a bit of bullet trajectory analysis
Yeah.
while I was there.
Some analysis.
Yeah.
A little bit of analysis, but you can go to the exact spot. Oddly enough, there is an X painted on the road where he was shot.
Oh.
But you can see where the old X
I
was.
feel
and
that's
it's
in a
faded.
bit poor taste. No,
But yeah, it's weird. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
there's an
odd.
X, like this is the spot. But there's
Yeah.
another X, like 3 feet further down, that's kind of faded. So they obviously repainted the X and they just stuck it on the road somewhere. It's not like precise, but anyway.
Why? Because the other X was like above a like a utility outlet or something like that.
No, it's just on the
We're
ground.
just gonna have to alter history very slightly because we need to
got a
access
manhole.
this.
We
We
got
got
a
a
manhole
manhole here, yeah.
No, but there's like you can go to the grassy knoll and someone's written on the fence better shot from here and stuff like that. Like it's all become a big meme, right? But there are a lot of guys that look like if you imagine in your mind the archetypal conspiracy theorist Vietnam vet era guy, he's still got like combat fatigue jacket. He's got some old busted up Levi's, really heavy shoes, weird beard. You know, he sort of comes up to, hey man, you JFK conspiracy, you want to know the details? You got the inside scoop right here. And he's got like, there's the fucking door again.
Oh man, right on the edge of my seat there as well. I couldn't wait. The fucking door, eh? Holy shit! I feel like Flax. And no offense to Flax, but like I feel like his whole week is like everything happens on a Thursday morning. You know, like delivery. Yeah, you can deliver it on Thursday morning.
No, I think this is just the routine of being a dad. Like this constant shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Actually.
I'm in. I'm not doing anything.
I'll be there. You know, these guys talk a lot. Just try not to ring the doorbell when I'm in the middle of talking, which is, happened many times today, but there you go. It happens.
Yeah. Well, this one's taken a while.
Yeah, I know.
God, that prison chat was a bit fucking downer, dude. Might have to get Tom to trim that
Oh,
out
no,
a
it's
bit.
fine, honestly.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing anyway.
Yeah, it's not his first rodeo or second or third. It's like his 203rd rodeo, I guess. So
Yeah, he's been on the road. He's very horse
you know,
for a long time.
he's been riding that rodeo.
riding that
cowboy.
cowboy.
He's been riding that cowboy for
That
some
fucking Bronco's
time.
been trying to buck him off.
He's been riding that cowboy for a long time.
Who are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Oh no, Lewis
God,
wanted to cut
you
out
were
all of the
you were
prison
mid-rant.
chat, but
No, not all of
we
it.
wouldn't have a podcast.
Go right.
for the
Tell me
week.
what you were mid-rant, P-Flax.
I wasn't
Carry on.
ranting, but I was just saying that these guys are trying to sell what is essentially a book that they've compiled of the sort of their version of the evidence. So
I don't know if you noticed this, but like if you go to the documentary section on Amazon Prime, you go through all the documentaries, and then there's all like the sort of big documentaries like that you'd expect, you know, like ones that have been in theater or whatever. And then when you start to get to the end of the list, it's like like YouTube unofficial documentaries and stuff.
There's really crazy,
fucking tons of them. Yeah, but like I don't know,
it's a big market.
I never watched them because I always just think
well, I got suckered in by one, and it turned out to be like a fake one, and I was like, not like the 9/11 one or anything, but do you know what I mean? I think those ones do sucker in people.
They do.
There was a classic, the 9/11 documentary. What was it called?
Loose Change.
Yeah, which was obviously bogus. And
but but it comes back to that thing though, that people are searching for what they want to see, right? Like people will ignore like top results of like a search and look for the stuff that they're actually looking for. You know what I mean? Like it's like a psychology thing, right? Like say you have like a really weird opinion on something, you're trying to reinforce that is like a normal opinion by searching for something very specific, even though like you might search up like I don't know, Michael Jordan has 3 testicles or something, right? And
Paul McCartney was replaced,
and all of the top results will be like, he only has 2 testicles. Biologically, he has 2 testicles, but then you'll find a forum post from like, Michael Jordan conspiracy boards where somebody's talking about his 3rd testicle, and you're like, yes, I found it.
I think that's what people call doing your own research.
Yes,
in other words,
digging
until you find the truth. As far as you're concerned.
Yeah, because you somehow managed to match with somebody just as insane as you. Yeah,
but this is what I just want to make one very quick point about conspiracy theories. Is that when people wonder why people do this stuff, that is their angle. And I don't want anyone to be confused. I doubt anyone that listens to this podcast is, because they're all incredibly smart people. But the fact is, if you dig and dig and dig and find these conspiracy theory videos and read all these books and all that kind of stuff, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their fucking heart. They're doing it as a grift. This is their way to make money, and there is the fucking door again!
Jesus Christ, man. Maybe he's selling like arts and crafts on the internet.
He's got a conspiracy book that people are coming around and buying.
Yeah, he's written his own JFK conspiracy book, and
it's got like a staff by the
people
door.
Just can't get enough. There's like a fucking line of people outside his house, all wearing JFK t-shirts and hats and stuff. And
he lives at the end of a cul-de-sac. I mean, it's not like he's in the middle of the high street. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
My house is pretty busy, but honestly, like, especially nowadays, like, who the hell is ringing a doorbell?
No one rings my doorbell.
No, like, if somebody's like coming to my house, they're just dropping something off, and I never need to interact with them, or they're coming over to do work, and then even then, if it's outside, never need to interact with them.
Oh, it's just so Mrs. F has had to go into the office a few times a week,
right?
A couple of times a week, and it's always like on a Tuesday, which is a bad day because we have our food shop come on a Tuesday, and there's normally like some fucking stupid parcel the kids have ordered comes on a Tuesday. And then Thursday, she goes in as well. And fucking Thursday sucks because the cleaner comes, so they're going to let her in, then the dog walker, then there'll be some more fucking stupid parcels. That's exactly what it is today.
Oh, all right. You don't have like the barcode shit and they just leave it like on your step?
No, because if it's the postman, the postman has to hand it to you.
Right.
Right?
This is a fucking mess today, this podcast.
Like vape juice or whatever.
I don't know how you're going to do this, Tom. This one. This is just... this one costs the cost of fuck, isn't it?
Tom can fucking handle it. He's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
We done 40 minutes. 30 minutes of that was pretty salty prison chat, and then it's just constant.
Oh, it was good prison chat. I think you're remembering
it was interesting.
Worse than
and
it
honestly,
was.
like JFK is fascinating because it was like this first televised mega global news event, and there was so much stuff associated with it. Who killed him, and then they found the guy who killed him, and then another guy killed that guy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And it was like there was organized crime at the time involved, and people thought there were other accomplices, and there were people who said that they were involved before their deathbed, and the CIA were involved, and it was this whole idea of there was so much in that time right?
Yeah.
Going on that it's this breeding ground for conspiracy, right? It couldn't just be a normal event. It had to be something more. And it was the OG conspiracy,
Yeah.
the most, and it's so rich even now,
Yeah.
the JFK story, to like, if you want to look into it, because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a crazy detail. Just very quickly, here's a crazy detail. Jim Garrison, who was the prosecutor that brought the criminal trial about JFK, and I think he charged Clay Davis and a couple of other people with the crime of killing the president or being part of a conspiracy. He hypnotized and used drugs to try to get the truth out of some of the witnesses.
Right.
And he's like the hero of the Oliver Stone movie. If you read about Jim Garrison, he wasn't a particularly sane guy. Like the stuff, the way he did that, and some people say, oh no, he didn't do that. He says he didn't, but they definitely claim, the other people definitely claim that he did. And he's like, oh no, I just hypnotized him a little bit or something. It's like, what? Who hypnotizes witnesses? Like that's insane. So it is bizarre. It is such a bizarre story. And the more you dig, the crazier it gets.
Yeah,
one of the
many-
things was a guy had
so
an
much.
umbrella. So here's one. You can find, there's a really
Yes.
interesting video about this. He opens an umbrella in the middle of the parade. And people are claiming that, and these are some of those conspiracy nuts hanging out in Dallas, that he had a pistol that was connected to some special lever that could shoot from the umbrella, so it would look like he's just holding an umbrella, but it's actually a gunbrella. But he was actually just some guy protesting about something that had happened in like Croatia or something.
Right.
And it was like they had opened an umbrella in this famous historical event. And so that was his little protest about it. It's so strange. There's a guy that they call Flash Face Man or something. And it was just sun reflecting off his sunglasses. But it could have been a gunshot.
Dark complected man, there's Black Dog Man and Badge Man, because they had all this grainy TV footage of the time,
Yeah.
right? And it was the original kind of viral, violent, live leak kind of horrible video.
But it didn't come out. The Zapruder film didn't come out for years. Like, it was not released. It was kept as a secret because it was so horrific, and it was part of the evidence and everything. It didn't come out until the 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was, pretty. Anyway,
I wish you wouldn't have mentioned all this now, because now I'm thinking like, oh,
yeah. Well,
I need
go
to
on a little, have
I
a
need
little
to go
read of the
do some
Wikipedia
research.
Do
page.
your research, bro. Do some fucking research, man.
I think
love a
that's why
conspiracy.
the conspiracy is so alluring, because it does present this
Yeah.
alternate history idea or this kind of more dramatic idea, and it lets you couch events that you have been in real events in a way that is more interesting, and it's kind of bizarre.
Well,
really
listen,
alluring.
Listen, Lewis, I don't want you to worry too much, because guess who's here to lighten up the mood?
Terry?
Because his favorite fucking show has
Where's
started
Watson?
once again.
We got him on.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Where's
It's The
Watson.
Apprentice.
It's fucking Mr.
Fuck's sake.
Mr. Apprentice. It's just as bad as it always has been.
Of course.
By the way, the people, I don't understand how they work in business outside of the show. They don't seem at all competent. Maybe the show just portrays them like in a bad light or something, but they all seem exceedingly stupid.
I don't think it's just the editing, dude, because Katie Hopkins was on that show and she's a cunt. So there's no way.
Well, I mean, there are exceptions for sure, but like, I don't know. I feel like when you watch The Apprentice and you watch the first episode, you can almost it's become so easy to predict the winner now, right? Because you're just looking for somebody who's not too loud and is just somewhat level-headed, and the rest of them are so insane that person will just win. Like, guaranteed, and the thing, it's like 15 weeks or something like that.
Right.
Maybe that's why, like, there's like the betting at like the bookies and stuff isn't so popular with The Apprentice. Like,
Yeah, it's
just
too easy, maybe.
it's become too
Well,
easy
it's all
to
been
crack.
filmed already, right? So I mean,
True.
I assume that these are all novelty bets.
Leaks and
basically,
stuff,
you're not
yeah,
allowed
yeah.
to bet more than a tenner on them. kind of thing.
Probably, yeah. But I mean, it's like sort of, it's not even guilty pleasure. It's just like I get angry and sort of not angry, but I feel like the whole time I'm watching the show, I feel like I'm sitting on like a high mountain and judging everyone and everything for like the whole hour it's on, sort of thing. Like I'm some sort of genius because the people in the show just are portrayed so badly, sort of thing. So I guess it's kind of like I feel like when I watch The Apprentice, it's like people watching me stream playing video games. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially
They're
Dota.
predicting what's going to happen.
The
The
insight,
doorbell's
yeah.
going to ring.
Oh,
The doorbell will ring.
Don't.
I'll be
If it rings
raging
again,
about
I'm
something.
legit ignoring it. Like,
Wow.
I'm.
You do that.
Jeez.
I'm with you.
Well, actually, I probably won't.
You got responsibilities.
Yeah, that's the thing. What if it's like...
No, it's fine. I'm fine with it.
So,
Go
by
for
the
it.
way, that's what Mrs. F says at the start of the week. She says, I'm going to be a twat this week. I was like, what the
Right.
hell are you talking about? She goes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm going into the office. That's what they call
Well,
it.
it's not her fault, is it?
Tuesday, Wednesday,
No, but
and
they
Thursday,
call it
don't
Tuesday,
they?
Wednesday, and Thursday is twat. So you say, I'm a twat this week.
Oh, I see.
I'm a
Okay.
twat.
That's
Does she still listen to the podcast?
No.
Did she give up a long time ago?
No, but I have very bad news.
What?
First, well, it's two-parter. First of all, she loves another podcast
Oh,
that's
come on.
more successful than ours, and it's
Really?
a parenting podcast with Josh Widdicombe and some other guys on,
For
and she
fuck's
listens to that
sake.
all the time, which
Oh,
upset me.
fuck me, man.
But here's even worse.
He's funny,
Oh,
though.
shit.
It's a funny podcast. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a funny podcast. But it felt like a little stab in the heart. I mean, it would be like me on the phone with a friend of hers or like a colleague of hers, someone
Yeah.
in the same industry.
Why don't you turn around and say that you really love and you've been listening to Liz Hurley's podcast, talking about her jammies and her new bras and stuff like that. See how she feels. God.
I bet you they don't spend half an hour talking about prison, though. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but Lewis,
I-
they've limited themselves because it's a parenting podcast. So they have guests on. All they talk about is parenting.
Right.
Like on Quick.
Well, that's
I mean,
what
so do we.
you are, though.
Huh?
We talk about parenting all the goddamn
Right,
time.
right. But
Like,
we don't just
we're
talk
not
about
good
that.
enough?
We don't just talk about prison. We don't just talk about parenting. We talk about all kinds of things.
We
we
do.
talk about TV a lot.
We do,
So-
we do, but I mean, people watch TV. It's a current event. It's a thing that people talk about.
And I love
Look,
watching
if anybody out
TV.
there's got a problem with the
Yeah.
stupid topics we come up with on the podcast, go ahead and go fuck yourself. I don't want to know.
Go right ahead. Feel free. Just freely and gently or roughly fuck yourself, honestly.
These people are not our competition, though, P-Flax. It's
They
not
are for
like
Mrs.
she's
X
listening to
listens.
that.
That's the point.
No, but she's not
Yeah.
listening to that instead of us.
Oh,
It's
is.
not-
she literally is.
She is. She said, I can't stand these three jabronis for one more minute. They're insufferable. I need to find a different parenting podcast. What the fuck?
But here's where it
It's
gets
fine.
worse. Here's where it gets worse. She goes out with some of the other mums in the area.
Right.
They're like a little group. They're very cool. They're a lot of fun to hang out with. They're really, really cool.
Right.
They've started listening to the fucking podcast.
Well, that doesn't sound very cool to me.
It is not cool because I do not want this podcast to be listened to by people I know. And then they'll bring it up.
Yeah, that's
Do you remember
true,
on
actually.
episode 138 when you said that all the other parents in the fucking your neighborhood and that you've met are assholes? It's like, well, it was a joke. I take offense
this
at that.
podcast. I thought you meant they started listening to the other
No,
parenting podcast.
this
the popular
podcast,
one.
this one.
They listen
Oh,
to this
man.
one as well.
Yes.
Oh, hi. Thanks for joining us.
What have we ever talked about on this podcast that would have been...
They're not listening. They just say they
Dude,
are.
they are listening.
People that you know in real life say polite things.
No,
and they
no,
don't
no, no,
actually do
'cause
it.
I
You've got to
told
understand,
them-
this is how stuff works, right? It is true. Like,
Oh, you're
I'll
gonna
meet
tell me
people
how
and I'll be
stuff
like, oh, I
works
love
now.
your podcast. I love your
You're
show.
going to tell me how stuff works
Yeah,
now.
Lewis knows how many things work.
I watch your stream all the time. Never watch it.
Yeah.
I never watch it. But I say to you that I do because
Yeah,
it's
but you're a
polite.
dishonest piece of shit when it comes to this. These are real people. These are normal, real people. They're not
Normal
us.
real people will not. They say, "Oh, listen to your podcast." They'll listen to like 5 minutes, and they'll listen to whatever else they're actually interested in. They don't have to. I don't even need them. They're fine on their own. Good luck to them. Look, we have this strange, bizarre, and like almost enemy situation with people who do another podcast or a rival podcast or a rival YouTuber or other Twitch streamers. Like it's weirdly competitive, right? Like we almost have this disdain for them, like without even knowing why. Like I've never watched a lot of these
Right.
YouTubers, but I just automatically know, they're not my thing. But actually, it turns out that a lot of them are pretty good usually, and you're a fan of Northern Lion, Sips, and some of these other folks, and they're clearly good content creators, or else they wouldn't have a big fan base, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you listened to their parenting podcast, P-Flax, you'd find it was good.
No, I already said it's good. Like,
Oh, okay,
I
good.
said it's a good podcast.
Are you,
Like that's what I'm saying.
some
Like,
sort of traitor? What the hell?
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
That's all right. I will let you off. Anyway, let's move on. I've got some other news.
Man.
Crime news.
Yeah.
We going back to
there was
prison stuff because you were really happy with the amount of prison talk last time.
Not prison
We haven't
specifically,
quite hit our
but
quota for prison talk on this.
there was a fugitive, a mafia fugitive,
right.
who was arrested in Spain this week.
Yeah. What was
Right.
her name?
Giacchino Gamino.
Right.
He was lying low near Madrid, but someone spotted him on Google Street View.
No way.
And
Can
they
you imagine?
then,
What was he living in a bunker or something? And
so he was a Sicilian mafia fugitive, just living in a town outside Madrid.
right.
And they sort of investigated the local town, and they found that there were pictures of him working as a chef at a local restaurant,
No fucking way.
which offered a Sicilian dinner.
Oh no.
Oh, very nice.
And it was called. He was going by the name of Manuel, right? And he worked at this place called La Cocina de Manu, which is
Yeah.
Manu's kitchen.
Right.
So he obviously working, using his Sicilian kind of background, living
Yeah.
up like as a chef in a small town, making his pasta, making his traditional mafia foods.
Right.
61-year-old guy.
61.
And yeah, they tracked him down. He was the boss of one of these Sicilian mafia
Oh man,
groups.
I was
Jesus.
hoping it was going to be like GeoGuessr, and someone that was playing GeoGuessr spotted him and called the police. But no, they just figured it out.
Well,
I mean, that's one way to hunt down Sicilian-themed restaurants.
Speaking of Italian mafia, last night I started watching one of my favorite shows. It's the fifth and final series of Gomorrah, the Italian crime drama.
Oh yeah.
And oh man, I didn't start watching it last night. Sorry, I started watching it the night before. So I've watched 2 episodes, and it is pretty good. Oh
yeah.
baby,
Did you hear there is a new series of Dexter?
Yes.
And
Yeah, it's like I think they were unhappy with the ending, and so they've decided
everyone was. Yeah.
They've decided to redo it or something. Is that
They've decided to not redo it, but explain it better.
all right?
Like,
So is this the aftermath? Because I think I saw a clip where he's like living in like Fargo or something, and he's just working some job.
yeah. So it's actually it is set like 15 years later,
right.
and his son has he sort of ran away because he was like a fugitive, I think.
Well, his son
And
did.
so no, he did.
Right.
So he left his son with one of his crazy serial killer wives or whatever. I can't
Right.
even remember what.
And
the
what
story
and
was
did he
back
leave
in the
his
day.
dark? Did he leave his dark passenger there too, or like?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
he
right.
left his dark passenger behind.
Right.
And he basically Dexter has cured himself. That's
Right.
the idea. He's gone away. 15
How
years.
do you think
got
he
a new
did it?
life,
Do you think he
cured
just started
himself.
making YouTube videos talking about his time as a serial killer?
Almost certainly.
He talked
Right.
through it. Apparently he talked through it with the ghost of his sister because
Oh.
previously, do you remember, he used to speak to the ghost of his father.
Wait, did
that was a
Deb
big
die in the
character.
series? Because I stopped watching
She
it.
did. That's
Oh.
what happened. That was why people were unhappy with the finale because I
Oh.
think the finale was real messy. But I
You're
don't
gonna
remember.
kill anyone
Maybe
in the show. Get rid of Angel. Honestly, like I know
Yeah, I don't think
controversial.
he's
People
in
liked him a lot, but like
the new one.
no.
Angel, I remember who he is now. Yeah.
That's like one of my go-to
such a
enraged
specific
Twitch
character.
chat jokes. I say how much
He
I
had
don't
a-
like Angel.
Did he have a hat?
I wish that he died in the show, and everybody just loses their shit all the time.
Did he have a hat? Yeah, he had that stupid fucking
Yeah, he had
trilby
that
hat.
stupid fucking hats. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's 15 years in the future. It's like his son, who was a baby in the show.
Oh yeah, the one
comes
that
and
was born,
finds
the
him.
one that was in the bathtub full of blood when his first wife was killed by the Trinity murderer, right?
Yes, and I think maybe
Shut
his
up,
son's
cunt.
like actually 20 or something.
Remember that
or-
fucking scene when his wife is talking? He's just like complaining about something at the dinner table, and he's all stressed out because he knows his goose is about to be cooked, and he's like, "Shut up, cunt!"
Yes.
For fuck's sake.
That's such a good impression of Michael C. Hall.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Good
Anyway, if you
times.
haven't watched Dexter or didn't follow it back in the day, it's 10 years after the events of the weird series finale,
It was a weird show,
universally
man.
hated.
It went all over the damn place, didn't it? He had the kid, and he had like daycare for the kid, but he was still out murdering everybody, and like the whatever body
he
of
only
water
murdered
is.
the bad guys, though. He only murdered criminals who've gotten away.
The harbor near
it.
Miami is just like a resting place for thousands of bodies that he's dumped in there.
Anyway, Dexter's a thing, so don't worry about that. In other news, police officers in LA have been fired for ignoring a robbery in progress to stop and capture a Pokemon on their phone.
Run that by me again.
So they were some police officers responding to a robbery in progress in LA, and they stopped on the way to pick up a Pokemon with Pokemon Go.
Okay.
That's right. They've been fired for that, which feels fine. I'm fine with that. Them being fired,
man,
for that.
That's crazy.
I guess it was a rare one that they really needed.
Finally, justice is served. I mean, really? That was the the straw that broke the camel's back for LAPD to get fired from their jobs, or maybe even go to jail for wrongdoing or whatever. It was Pokemon Go finally got them.
And a Togetic, apparently. Whatever a Togetic is.
Togetic?
A Togetic.
Man, oh man.
It's a fucking weird one.
Well, it's a dual-type fairy flying Pokemon introduced in Generation 2. It evolves from
Pidgey.
Togepi when leveled up with high friendship, and evolves into Togekiss when exposed to a shiny stone. It's a dainty bipedal Pokemon that is small in stature. It is white with a red and blue triangular ring pattern on... Sorry. Nodded off there for a second. Carry on.
I love the... Fuck's sake. Oh, man. Lewis is secretly stewing about this, so he fucking loves Pokemon so much.
No.
The fucking Bulbapedia page for it is like 18 pages long.
I know why.
Do you think anybody out there jacks off to Pokemons?
Yes, I think there are 100% people who are wanking about Pokemon. 100%.
Like seriously, actually jacking off, like to some of the characters in Pokemon.
Yes.
Not excluding the humanoid ones.
Not even the humanoid characters. Yes, I am saying 100% yes.
Somebody out there is jacking off to like Pidgey
right now.
Yes.
Right now, as we speak. Yes.
1,000,000%.
That's crazy to me.
I know it's crazy. Do you want more news? I've got more.
Sure.
Zynga, the fucking Farmville developer, is worth $12.7 billion.
Wow.
Right? And they got sold to Take-Two, who own Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto, all the other stuff.
Take-Two Interactive.
Take-Two own like tons of games. They own like Arcane and the Dishonored Devil. Loads of people. They're rich. But they're rich enough. They got $12 billion. I guess most of that's from GTA. But
he had
Zynga.
to buy it like 5 times, right?
$12 billion. That's like
they didn't literally have 12 billion quid lying around. I don't think you have to do it that way. They've probably got all kinds of fucking investors and shit, and it's all debts up the arse and everything. Like, they don't turn up with a bag of money. I want to buy your company. They're just like, yeah, here, we're going to buy all these shares using this loan shit, and we're going to invest this from here, and we're going to cross-pollinate this, that, and the other. It's all bullshit. So they own it, but there's no fucking...
So, yeah, I guess Farmville is going to start... You're going to be able to start calling people the N-word and running them over and stuff. I was on GTA yesterday, because we do some games in it, and it's obviously played by kids, right? Because the censorship on it, you can't say the word virgin, right? Like someone...
I got
called a virgin in Dota last week, which I found so amusing that I've called everyone a virgin everywhere for the whole week.
Yeah.
And it got censor blocked. It got censor blocked while an NPC was calling me the N-word, right? And I was like, what kind of standards do we have here, Jimmy, for this game?
Which N-word are we talking about here?
The hard one.
The N.
Yeah.
The N-word.
Yes, the N-word.
Which character in Dota called you that?
No, in GTA.
Oh, in GTA.
I can call people in Dota whatever I want.
No, you can't. You'll get fucking reported.
Yeah, you will.
Well, who cares?
And it's immoral. You can call them a virgin if you like, but you can't call people the N-word. That's unacceptable.
I'm not calling people the N-word in Dota. I'm calling them virgins.
Well, stop doing it.
I'm just saying that it's weird that there's some sort of high-level profanity filter on GTA, blocking me from calling people virgins, and yet
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
game people are calling me
Why
way
were
worse
you
than
trying
that.
to call somebody a virgin in GTA?
I was just typing it in for fun.
Right.
just the fun of typing the
it was
word
Ravs or Pedguin or whatever. I wanted to call them a virgin. It just tickled me for some reason. Anyway, in positive news with gaming developers, there was a guy who worked for a mobile game studio, and he was in a bus crash, and he very sadly lost his arm, and he returned to work, and the mobile studio put a DLC character in of him and used the money to pay for him to get a really cool prosthetic arm.
Right.
So this was like a Russian game studio, but apparently, because he was so upbeat about it, it says, dedicated to Andrei Kvasov, you are a cool pro who is a pleasure to work with. Faced with something that would break many, you did not just stay strong, but maintained a positive attitude and inspired us all.
That's good.
So that's his. So he's got a DLC character with a prosthetic arm,
But
and he's got
in this day and
arm.
age, it's a risky move. Like I get like the feeling and the sentimentality behind it all and stuff, and I think it's a nice thing to do. But like, if in 2 weeks' time it turns out that he's like a serial sexual abuser or something like that, how the hell do they clean that one up? You know what I mean? Because like it happens all the damn time, right? Like they put people in. I mean, more recently, people who have helped develop games or whatever have had their names in games, like
you're right. You
in
should
Blizzard
never
games,
put
and
anyone
they've had to
in your
go
game.
after all these allegations and stuff. They've had to go out and strip out and rename characters and stuff like that. Like you just shouldn't really do it. It doesn't.
Yeah, they didn't realize that they were in the bus accident that he was in was actually a. Oh God, I'm not.
I wouldn't go that
I'm not
far
gonna
with it, but like, I'm
speculate.
just saying, it's food for thought, I guess, right?
He
'Cause
was running from the
This
police.
stuff is
Good Lord.
This kind of stuff happens,
God.
right? Like more recently, it seems to have happened a lot.
Unfortunately, I think if worlds collide, the 1% of people who are in bus accidents are also the 1% of people who are horrible, horrible people, then that's just bad luck, isn't it? You can't fucking get away from that.
I guess so, yeah. But it's just
I don't think the majority of people who get themselves put into video games are problematic. But some
but
are.
I think it's like I think it's one of those things where it's like no matter what, you should try not to really put people from the real world into a game by name and everything as well, because you never know when you're going to have to go back and
True that.
take them out. Well,
Well,
out of the game.
I think that sometimes you just have to fucking go for it. Like you just have to put your trust somewhere. You can't live.
You just
can't
gotta
live with
YOLO.
no love. You
Yeah.
know, you've got to do it sensibly.
Yeah.
You know.
No, fair enough.
I think it's probably if you know the guy and it's a small mobile game, then I think that's if you're very
Well,
close. I think you shouldn't put people in that you admire maybe or that you don't know. That's riskier, isn't it?
I don't know. I just think
But
it's.
do you ever really know someone?
No.
Look, we just have to have some boundaries here.
Yeah, no, you don't
believe
really.
that. Oh God, let's not be too much on that, or else you're never gonna operate properly, are you?
Yeah.
You can't go through life just thinking the worst about everyone that you meet.
No.
It's not a way. It's not a way to live. For goddamn sure.
That's
Look,
for
love each other.
That's for
Be
goddamn
good to
sure.
each other.
That's
Wise
for
words.
goddamn sure.
That's for
Stay out there in the prison yard.
Yeah.
And pump iron.
Go with the flow as well. Don't counter the flow. And,
go with the flow.
yeah.
Always,
Not
put
against.
the seat down
Yeah.
and, make sure to wear moisturize and deodorant. And, floss.
Yeah. What, like the dance move or the dental
Both.
move?
Do both.
I'm going mental on the dental.
Just
Nice.
do it all. All right,
Nice.
good. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Whew, what an episode.
Yeah, see you next time.
That was a roller coaster.
Bye.
Bye.